Before I start, I want to say something because I think it probably, all the different emotions we've all been going through since Thursday, they just come, they stay, they come back with sadness, whether it's the disbelief, the shock, frankly, the anger at times. And as every emotion comes through, I keep coming back to something that I truly, truly believe. He was ready to meet God when that time came. I have no doubt in my mind, knowing him, knowing his family, not only seeing and hearing and being a part of what he was spiritually, but you could feel it in him. And no matter what we're all going through, that is a huge, huge, I want to call it a relief, but it's in that ballpark. Back in 2007, was a really, really good coach at Wake Forest named Skip Prosser. He started as a head coach kind of late, but he was at Xavier, really did a great job building that, Loyola Maryland before that, and he went to Wake Forest. Well, one day in July, he returned home from a recruiting trip, and he went to work out back at Wake Forest, and he went to lay down after that workout, that run, and he didn't wake up. And the thing about Skip, he was not one of those guys that puffed his chest out. I mean, he was a great coach. He was in the ACC. He was not one of those guys that self-promoted. He was not one of those guys that said, look at me. And he passed. And as a basketball coach and as a person, when he passed in 2007, there was absolutely no doubt that he was on top of his game. When Amir passed, he was on top of his game. Maybe not on top of his health, but he was on top of his game. And I'm so envious, as Joni, my wife, we are so envious of all of you that knew him for so long. Because we didn't meet him till the night I interviewed him for the job at Georgia. And it was April of 18. We met at a hotel somewhere in Buckhead. I saw Rodney Hurd today. I thanked Rodney, because those of you that know Rodney know he is a persistent man. And he is a convincer, right? He kept telling me about Amir. And I'd never met Amir Abdur-Rahim in my life. I knew who he was, but I'd never met him. I certainly knew Sharif, knew of Sharif. I knew of the family, right? You couldn't be in basketball and not know of the family. But we met, and Ari was there. And within 2 minutes, obviously, the recruiting question was put to bed, because he had Ari, right? So there was no question about his ability to land the highest level of recruit. So I can add to what they said earlier. I don't have anything else funny past that. But we sat, we talked, and I think, believe it or not, they were coming from Charleston. I think they'd been to a wedding of one of their former players, I think. But I could be wrong about that. But we got it done shortly thereafter. And I'd never met him, right? Within 3 months, maybe 4 months going into the summer, it was like I'd worked with him for 5 or 6 years. It was like we'd been together that long. Chad Dollar was with us. Chad knew him, obviously, and certainly that helped. But we get into the season, and it's got its ups and downs early on, and I'm going through a situation with my mother who's near the end of her life. And she passed in January of 19. And we knew it was coming, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you know it's coming. It hits. And I was in the office, and long story short, I was incoherent. Could barely walk, couldn't talk. And there was Amir coming out of that office, and Amir would not let me go. He held on to me, he helped me walk, he helped me get to the couch. He took me to the car when Joni came to pick me up. We had practice later that night, practice the next day, played Florida on a Saturday. I barely remember any of that, but I do remember Amir just taking care of everything for me, making sure we were set. Chad was obviously in there too, making sure that we were good. There was no doubt in my mind that no matter how long we were together, we'd be friends forever. There was no doubt. And fast forward to when the Kennesaw job became open, and Pam Whitten was the president at that time, who had just left Georgia. And Amir wanted to go after the job. He was interested in the job. Last thing I wanted was to lose Amir Abdur-Rahim. We had just recruited Anthony. We were trying to build. We still had Nick Claxton at that point before he went into the pre-draft cycle and just totally did a great job, and obviously was going to be an early pick in that draft. But we did not want to lose Amir because I knew it was going to set us back. I knew that. Okay, not just because we had Anthony coming in, but because of who he was. But a sign to me of how much I loved him was I was not going to do anything to try to hold him back. Greg McGarity had given me a raise to the point we could basically double what he was going to make at Kennesaw, but I never used it because that's what he wanted. He wanted to be a head coach. He wanted to come home. He wanted to build in the city that he was born and raised in. He wanted to be that guy. He wanted it to start. And as bad as it hurt me, as bad as it hurt us, and the biggest fear was how was I going to tell my wife she was getting ready to lose her great friend Ari and those two beautiful girls at that point. Because obviously Lana was born while they were at Georgia. But he went. And he went, and look what he did. Look what he has done. Since he took that job, since he left us at Georgia, since he came into Kennesaw, since he went to South Florida. When I was at Marquette my first year, I worked for a guy, there was a guy that was a pretty famous guy that worked for him. I would have loved to. Al McGuire, legendary coach. He retired at the top of his game. He won the national championship against North Carolina at the Omni in '77. And we had a year and a half together before he passed away. He had a bad disease and he didn't make it. But one of the first times we were ever together, he says, Tom, he says, I built an army here, but not the kind of army that you think. It's the kind of army that's built one person at a time. You can do the same thing. Don't ever forget it's one person at a time. Well, I never forgot that. And everywhere we were, Marquette, Indiana, coming into Georgia, that was how it was going to be. And every time that I could get the coaching staff, the coaches on our staff to understand that this, you roll up your sleeves, you go at it, you do whatever it takes to get people to believe in what you are building. And Amir jumped right in. Man, he'd ask questions, and he'd obviously been with great coaches like Billy and Steve. He'd been places. But the bottom line is, man, we did everything we could do to not only raise the view of Georgia basketball, but to get everybody, every single person on campus, around town, anybody we came in contact with to understand that they mattered to what we were building. That is exactly what Amir Abdur-Rahim did at Kennesaw, and it is exactly what he did at South Florida. And there's so many things that I want to say, but I want to say this most importantly, and I want to say this to everybody in here and to his team. And everybody that's listening, because it's been beautiful to look at the way people have reached out on social media, the calls I've gotten for being his friend. And as my wife said, we may not have known all his friends, but his friends knew us and we knew about his friends. Because if there was one person that was proud of the relationships and proud of who he was involved with and absolutely proud every single second of every day to have his beautiful wife and 3 beautiful kids and to have that family that he had, we all knew it. Every one of us knew it, and we were all better for it. But what Amir stands for, what Amir has built, what put Amir at the top of his game is the fact that he didn't say, hey, look at me. It was, look at us. It wasn't, hey, we need all of you. No, we need you. We need you, we need you, we need you. He went into the dorms. He wasn't afraid to talk to the person that was shy. He went into the eating areas. He went to all the other events. He said, it's not just about my program, it's about this school. It's about the other programs. It's about the other coaches. That's hard to do. That is hard to do. It is hard to have a family, to want to be first and foremost with your family, to try to run a program, but to make sure that you understand that everywhere that you go, you are trying to build towards what you want to accomplish. See, leaders, there's a lot of characteristics of great leaders. Number one, you better be able to attack and get through hard. You better be able to get through that because it's going to stay hard. And building Kennesaw from one win to the championship and going into South Florida, that's hard stuff. We came in his first year, and over in that section over there, there were 3 students that were dressed in the paint. They were dressed in the gear. They were standing in the front. There were other students here. And that was at a time when half the crowd was the Abdur-Rahim family. right? Because that's kind of what it was. That's where it was at that point. But those three students sit there, and my wife and I, we were sitting behind the bench, and I'm looking at that, and he's coaching his tail off. He made those three feel a part of this. And I couldn't tell you, they might be here. I never met them. He made them feel that they were a part of this. He did that everywhere on this campus. He did that everywhere in this town. In living in Sarasota, Florida, now like we do, I watched him do it in Tampa. He didn't say, hey, come because I'm the coach. He didn't get these guys to play hard just because he was the coach. They watched him go through things. They watched him put hard first. They watched him overcome those things, because you've got to be able to go through hard, but there's two other things that you've got to have. You've got to have great competitive stamina if you're going to lead. And Amir has that competitive stamina. And you better have vision endurance. And this is where we all come in right now, every one of us. Because everybody misses them. Everybody's going to miss them. But we're not letting it go. We're not letting it go. He had vision endurance. It probably happened even faster than he would think at South Florida. I saw them practice the day before they left for an East Coast trip for Hofstra and UMass, and I was scared because it was not going great. A little bit of injury, some guys not buying in, listening yet. He didn't have it yet. He didn't have it. But watching him coach, watching him be unafraid to challenge, watching him to deal with confrontation, to deal with a conflict, to not be afraid to walk away, to challenge a player to be better, to challenge somebody to get through it. He did that. He did that every day. I didn't get to see it every day. I saw it at Georgia, but he did that as a head coach. You can't build what he built and what he was building without having that. And he had it. And that vision endurance now that he has, for what he saw in Pryor, for what he saw in Selton McGill, for what he saw early on in the recruiting of Jennings and Youngblood and Stroud and Burton and Jaden Reed, and we can go right on down the list. He saw things in those guys. He saw things in those people. He had a vision for them. And he was doing everything he could every day to make it come to reality. And that's hard. That's a challenge. It's not easy. Every bit of who he is can be carried out through all of us. And I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm telling you the truth. When we walk out of here and we go through our grief and we pray for the family and they go through their grief, we have a responsibility. Because the one thing that I found myself doing the last couple of days when people would hit me and reach out and I'd say, man, he was going to be one of the greats. Within 3 to 5 years, he'd be one of the absolute greats. And I was wrong, because he is great now. He was great. He was great, not just because of the coaching acumen, not just because of his personality, not just because of his knowledge, not just because of the way that he worked. He put it all together because he was unafraid to challenge you to love back. He was unafraid to get the most out of you. He was unafraid to walk in and talk to people when maybe it didn't seem convenient, but there he was. That is what we have a responsibility to carry out. He had a vision for his family with Ari. God, I could talk forever. The partnership, about them, the partnership, I'm going to close, seriously. The partnership that they have is uncommon. And what we've got to be able to do as we move forward in this type of thing right now, we got to carry out that vision. Because that man, if you were loved by him, you knew it. And you knew who else he loved. He not only loved his family, but he loved those players. And every one of you have a responsibility to carry out the lessons that you've had. Because when he told you that love wins, well, my brother, love won. Because you put a lot more inside of us than we all realized we had in us. And our job and our responsibility and the way we thank him for all that he has done for us is we carry that out forward throughout everything that we do. And we have that vision endurance, not only for what he had a vision for, but how to carry out the friendship that he showed us of what it's all about. We love you, Amir. Thank you very much.